Well, that's not supposed to happen. We added the randomizer feature to my monster catching RPG, but it just broke everything. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, my name is Dan and I'm the creator of Elestrals, and we're developing the Elestrals Awakened RPG. I've uploaded a couple devlogs and I've been having a lot of fun showcasing the process here and giving some behind the scenes. So if you're interested in the monster catching genre or creating your own game or just wanting to see what it's like to create a video game, I'm gonna give you guys a first take. I'm new to this too, and I'm gonna give you guys kind of the behind the scenes as we take this adventure together. We just implemented our randomizer mode, which is part of our Kickstarter promises, and it works, sort of. We've got some really cool stuff happening where we can randomize spawns across the different Elestrals as you reset biomes, and it'll be a toggleable option for players when they explore Elestrals Awakened. And don't forget, there will be multiple save files as well, so you don't have to stress about having the option to explore the game in different ways across different save files. The couple problems that we've run into so far are we've had some freezes and some game crashes, and we need to swap those randomizer spawns out for the static spawns, but that's all stuff that the team is going to fix as we explore and test this feature. So I'm quite excited for the randomizer. We're also implementing stellar mode and permadeath mode and so many different things that are going to increase the playability of Elestrals Awakened. So if you haven't wishlisted us on Steam yet, make sure you guys do so. I'll have a link in the description below. It's free to wishlist and it does help us out. The next thing I want to share is our combat AI implementation. Our coder said that it's not very flashy, but I improved our turn-based combat code to allow for instant headless simulation of the game, which means all the character animations, VFX, sounds, and UI are skipped, and just the core gameplay is simulated. This allows for test code to queue up in actual combat encounters with specific inputs to test core gameplay features. We now have 104 of these tests with pretty solid coverage over our existing combat systems so far. We'll continue building up this test base, and it'll speed up development as we continue to add new features to the turn-based combat, because we can easily run these tests whenever to check if new changes broke anything else in the game. And I know exactly what broke and why. So one of the core components of the things that our team is doing right now is building the foundation, right? Building the systems to allow us to find bugs faster, to be able to implement map tiles faster, to be able to build this game out, and we're building all of these systems to do that now, and it's been really cool to see. The next thing I want to talk about is our spirit cores. This is kind of like the abilities in the game. Different Elestrals will have various spirit cores, and it's a unique system that is going to be randomly generated on the Elestrals from a small pool of spirit cores. We're making it so Stellars, our Stellar Rares, have additional spirit cores, making them stronger. And we're also going to allow Elestrals to Nexus or change their form and retain their spirit cores, creating super unique combinations. Like, for example, if you have an Ash Rabbit, a Thunder Elestral with a Thunder Spirit Core, and you Nexus it to Ash Rabbit, the Fire Elestral, it'll be a Fire Elestral with a Thunder Spirit Core, which will be really unique, and there's going to be opportunities how you can synergize that throughout your gameplay to create some really cool scenarios. It's really neat to see the team implement the coding for the Spirit Core system now, and they've actually implemented a few different Spirit Cores. The first one is Phoenix Ash, which is a Fire Spirit Core that basically makes it so anytime you take a big hit, you'll always live on 1 health, the first time it happens in a clash. So I'm excited for this one to be implemented, and then we've added another one called Rejuvenate, which allows you to basically heal some of your health when you switch out of the clash. So you'll see the kind of demonstration of that with Locagon here. We're going to continue to build out these spirit cores. In the next few weeks, we anticipate having almost 40 spirit cores built into the game. I'm not quite sure how many we're going to land on. I think our goal was originally to probably get close to 80 to 100, but if the implementation of this continues to go well, we may end up exceeding that. I think it just depends on how unique we can make them and how similar they are across different elements. Once we kind of build the core system for, okay, this spirit core heals, and this spirit core heals when switching out, you have those two components, healing and switching out, and now those two components are easier to build upon for future spirit cores. So now if we have one that says when you switch out you heal your status conditions, that's a little easier to build because they've already built out the switching out being the trigger. So hopefully that makes sense. It's going to be really exciting to see this feature come along. Shady Penguin and I spent a lot of time this week discussing skill trees. I'm a big skill tree fan, and I've always wanted to implement it into Elestrals Awakened, and some of the earlier kind of GDDs that we built did include a skill tree type system. We wanted to decide whether or not it was worth exploring that, and we talked about various mechanics where maybe you build up a skill tree in each of the 8 elements, or maybe each caster has one skill tree and you can choose the different pathways to choose which element you want to focus on. And I'll be honest, we got pretty far down the rabbit hole, and it honestly, much like one of our previous conversations, it kind of came back to scope. Scope creep is a very real thing, and it's something that can derail game developers if you don't have enough, framework and the ability to say no. It's very easy to have an idea, and it's very easy to have a good idea, and it's hard to, put the reins on sometimes when you want to just do everything. You want to make the best game possible, so you think, I got to add this, I got to add that, I want to add this. But I'm trying to be incredibly cautious with this. If we have extra time and development is going so smooth that we have extra time, then I think this is a topic we'll revisit. But I think for now, anything related to skill trees is going to be pushed aside on this project, because I think it's better for us to focus our energy on our spirit cores. If we talk about, instead of getting 80 spirit cores in, now we get 140 spirit cores in, instead of spending twice that time to do a whole new skill tree type system, I think we net out better for the experience in general, and it keeps things a little bit more focused. So we're gonna pause on that. But one thing that I do want to consider implementing, and I have on my list, is this caster bonus. We talked a lot about devotion and aligning yourself with one of our 8 elements. This caster bonus that I'm envisioning basically makes it so when you bond with a specific element, like Lunar and Alun, you'll get a percentage buff to the power of the spirit cores of that element. So in that example of utilizing Rejuvenate, if I was a water caster and I used an Elestral with the spirit core Rejuvenate on it, instead of healing 30% on switching out, maybe because I'm a water caster, I heal 40% on switching out. But any other type of caster would not receive that same bonus. It's those little things that I think are going to kind of add some nice magic. So I want to explore this idea quite a bit. We also want to make it so maybe the empowerments of that element charge a little faster or deal a little bit more damage. We want to be able to have those Elestrals that align with your element, maybe gain experience at a slightly higher rate. Just some small flavorful things that I think could make the affinity of your element actually matter in gameplay without building out this entire skill tree-like system. The next thing I want to touch on is what it's like to sprite an Elestral for the RPG. And I don't have the full start to finish here, but I do have some really interesting pieces to show you. So I'm going to show you guys the Elestral Posthumous, which is a 3rd stage Lunar Ascension Elestral, and it's a very complicated design. It's probably one of the more complicated sprites that our spriters have the task of tackling. So you'll see kind of the initial approach here from one of our spriters. They're able to get the base of the Posthumous down. It's a solid start, but there's quite a bit of feedback that comes in. One of our artists does a line drawing over it to say, hey, you got this antler right, you've got this body part right, here's some adjustments you can make to the way that the skull is facing a little higher. You can get its chest puffing out a little bit more and accentuate some of the key features. Then we actually see a comparison from our lead pixel artist jumping in and providing additional feedback and providing a rough sprite over to allow our first spriter to say, oh, okay, like this is a better posture it should stand in. This is a better angle that we can look at. This is adjusting some of the anatomy to highlight some of the key features that we need to focus on. And then we actually, for this particular Elestral, because of the complexity of it, we actually have a 3D model of its antlers that we're able to share with our spriter to get it down to the wire. We want to get this super precise and make it look great in game. And then, we have both the front and the back view of these antlers. So some pretty interesting stuff. And then now you can actually see kind of where the Posthumous sprite is. And when you compare it side by side to where it started, it's gone through quite a transformation and it looks quite a bit better. And now it's ready to go into the next stage, which will do kind of the reverse sprite of it. And then we'll start to animate it from there. A tremendous amount of effort goes in from our spriters to make each Elestral. They may be small and just filled with pixels, but I tell you what, it's a lot of work for each of these creatures, which is why, as much as I would love to have all near 300 Elestrals in the game that we've created so far, we're probably going to land closer to 150 because we know that each of these takes so much time and we want to make sure we can spend the time to get the ones we choose to put in the game just right. A couple other quick highlights for this week. Our team updated the UI, so we've got some cool new pages that you can view when you pull up an Elestral. It's a little bit more intuitive, and currently you can swap the move pool around like in that UI without having to go to anybody. Some of these quality of life features we may build a different way, but for now they're very convenient for people playing the game. And last but not least, controller support has been implemented, which means that our demo at our World Championships in March will be controller supported and players will be able to do that. This is an essential piece that we needed to build into the game now, so we've got controller support in and we're making tremendous progress. Thanks so much for tuning into another devlog episode here for Elestrals Awakened, our incredible monster catching RPG. Don't forget to wishlist us on Steam. It's a great way to support. It's totally free. And if you missed backer kit, go do it. You got to do your backer kit. You still have a chance to late pledge there. Stay tuned for the next one. I've got all sorts of updates for you guys coming, including some new VFX shaders. We've got some new animations and much, much more. So stay tuned for the next devlog.